communications. Hope this finds you all well, whether you're watching this live or whether you're watching this on replay. Either which way, you're very welcome here. And I wanted just to say a couple of things. I wanted to praise YouTube because let's be honest, ever since Google got its hands, its mitts on YouTube, YouTube's become so wonderful, so fantastic. It's the bastion of free speech. It's a place where we can all speak freely. Yes, it is. And any of you bigots who say otherwise, you need to take a long, hard look at yourself in the mirror. Yeah. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of YouTube, and I mean I was very encouraged when YouTube rightly pointed out that to question the 2020 U.S. presidential election was worthy of a strike. Well, I would say instant dismissal. That's what's needed if you're going to question that election, even though you could question the 2016 election. Oh, shut up anyway. Just go with it. Go with it. So that was YouTube showing us how fair-minded it really is. Yes, I'm sure you'd agree with that. And then the second thing is just recently, I think it was yesterday or the day before, YouTube came out and said anybody, anywhere who questions any vaccines that have been approved anywhere is going to be given a strike and removed. Well, thank you, YouTube. Thank goodness that you've spoken up and made it clear that we're just not going to tolerate those those anti-vaxxers on this platform. No, 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 no. And those people. Thanks, by the way, Fred. Fred Blogs. Thank you for your kind words. I'm glad you enjoy the podcasts. We're going to talk about those in a minute or two. But yeah, so yeah, back to YouTube. Yeah, so happily, Susan Wozicki or whatever she's called, Wozicki, Susan, Susan, beware of the devil. Susan has rightly said, listen, we're going to make sure that this channel does not spread fake news. And so, from that in mind, you cannot have people questioning things like, well, not just COVID vaccines, but any vaccines. I say, well done, YouTube. It certainly makes me understand exactly the sort of platform this is. It tells me exactly what YouTube is looking for. And that's why I want to encourage all of you watching this to understand what I'm saying, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, and make sure that you subscribe to my daily podcast channel. The links are going to be down below, undoubtedly. And that way you can catch information from me, I think 4 or 5 times a day, potentially, all uncensored, all unmitigated by big, deep tech. So you can catch all that on my podcast channel. Um, but it is rather difficult. Yeah, it's kind of tricky to get this stuff out on YouTube. So, so if what I would say to you is this: if you follow me on YouTube and you're not following me on my podcast channel, something's wrong. There's a cognitive dissonance because I guess you follow me because you like the sort of stuff I come out with. But as you will notice, I've been remarkably quiet on the YouTubes for good reason. I am remarkably busy and active, especially on my podcast channel. You get me on other channels as well, like Rumble, like BitChute, like Odyssey. You can find me on all these, like Gab TV, like GETTR as well. You can get me on GETTR. You get me in all those different places. There is life outside of the holy trinity of Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. There is life, honestly. Trust me. I'm outside of those platforms more or less, and all the better for it, I have to say. So yeah, so as I say, I just wanted to praise YouTube for their incredibly helpful way of clamping down on what I consider to be pesky free speech. And you get to the point where you have to say enough, enough of you people coming onto this platform and spouting your views. That's not going to go very. That's not helpful. It's much bad. It's yeah. Thanks, Zona Rosa. YouTube is over. YouTube is toxic, actually. Some people would say that, but not me. No, no, because I love my YouTubes. I love my YouTubes. Actually, to be honest with you, I spend very little time watching very little on on YouTube now. Most of the content creators that I like, you'll find them in Rumble, you'll find them in BitChute, you'll find them over there. Those platforms are not as glitzy in this one, but there's one significant, massive difference. The difference is we can actually speak freely over there, whereas here on the blessed YouTube, we have to praise the censorship, we have to praise the clamping down, we have to praise the almighty algorithms who seek out even a vestige of truth. We mustn't have truth on YouTube. That is clearly not compatible with Google and YouTube values, I think. So yeah, so there we go, folks. That is hi Pete. Um, as I say, at this point in the game, if you want my content, you need to subscribe to the podcast channels, and you will get it every day, every day. If you want to infrequently listen to me, then you can watch here, but you'll not find very much here. Most of the good guys have gone. Most of us have gone. Most of them have gone. I'm certainly semi-detached from the YouTube. Um, I want to hang around though. I don't want them to strike me. I want to because I basically see that YouTube is a cesspit. Well, there's no doubt about that. Or but hang on a second. No, no, no. YouTube is the home of free speech, isn't it? It's a wonderful platform. So lovely. Just don't say anything that it doesn't like, or you're going to be taken down. Wonder who does all the moderating on YouTube, by the way. Have you thought about that? What kind of folks do they employ who sit at the center and make a determination as to what channel they will remove or which individual they will remove? I mean, I'd be interested in knowing, but I've got a clue. I've got this feeling that they've probably got purple hair and at least one nose ring, maybe two nose rings. But hey, that's all the rage. It's only a matter of time till I have purple hair and multiple nose rings and tongue rings and God knows whatever else they have nowadays. You're right, Pete. YouTube is indeed controlled as you say, which makes it actually, to be honest, investing time in this channel is just so not worth it because you can't talk about anything that matters. And the only things that you can talk, I mean, I was thinking maybe I should set up, a YouTube channel, makeup tips for the LGBTQ plus, etc. community. Maybe I should do that. Um, read your comments, by the way. The thing that I enjoy most, that I've enjoyed most on my time in YouTube, is hi Richie. Sorry to hear you've got purple hair and a nose ring, but there's always the exception. I'm not saying I'm all for diversity and inclusiveness, which is why I love YouTube so much because they love diversity and YouTube loves inclusiveness. That's why everyone has to say the same things and think the same things. It makes sense. Once you once you fundamentally step through the world into 1984, you will be very comfortable here on this platform. It's a real comfort zone for groupthink. And if you approve of groupthink, this is absolutely the right place for you. However, if this is an if you enjoy hearing challenging opinions, if you enjoy hearing counter narrative views, then my podcast is the place for you. I actually have claimed, now this could be wrong, I stand to be corrected, but I think my podcast channel is probably the hardest working one in the UK. How many podcast channels do you know that put out 4 to 5 unique podcasts every day, 7 days a week? I do. Who else can say that? And the good thing is they're bite-sized, so you can digest them over your morning cornflakes, over your lunch, afternoon snacks and tea, and then before you go to bed, you can get all this from me if you go. Hey, Richie, good to say you've got. Turns out I still have grey hair. Yeah, well, unfortunately, you're ahead of me because you've got hair. I've got areas of greyness, I suppose, brought about by YouTube. YouTube and Twitter and Facebook has given me gray hair, all the stress, all the stress of never veering over that which is unacceptable, all the stress of making sure that you toe the line. Well, you see, here's my problem. I'm not interested in towing the party line on anything. I've always held the view that I will say what I think, And you may disagree with that, which is absolutely fine, by the way, or you might agree with me. It's possible. Some people may actually do agree, and that's what. And if we lived in a world where free speech was valued, I could speak freely on a platform like this, but I can't. So ask yourself this. Here's a thought for you. Ask yourself why it is that on the three biggest social media platforms in the world, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, you can't say what you think. Why might that be? Hmm? Have you, I'll just throw this thought out there, have you ever wondered how these three platforms got to the point that they have arrived at, where they have dominated the social media scene and the uploading of video scene? How have they got to that point? Who let them? Who funded them? And why? I think you should investigate that. I think if you Google it, you'll come up with some interesting answers. Facebook, in particular, is fascinating. Uh, oh, thanks, Miss L. Hi, Miss L. Good to see you. I miss you on my. I cooked dinner while I was listening to your podcast. Thank you. You're very kind. I hope it doesn't. I hope it doesn't spoil your results of your cooking skills, Miss L. I would hate that. Think that. You burn your tea over me. But yeah, so ask yourself, yeah, Facebook, the origins of Facebook. It's really, really interesting. You should Google origins of Facebook slash CIA. Yeah, Richie, you're quite right. Don't use Google. Forget I ever said that. I use other browsers as well. Google's the last thing you should use. But then oh yeah, Google owns YouTube. Oh gosh, I'm beginning to see a trend. But Google is 100% in favor of unrestricted free speech, as is YouTube. And only a Nazi right wing bigot is going to say anything different to that. That's the way it works. So, yeah, so there you go. So I just wanted to, it enhances the flavor. Yes, it does, Miss L. It gives an extra bite to your tea. Uh, Pete says Reddit is controlled by the left as well. So much, and in so many ways, folks. The reason that the world is in the mess that it's in is because of big media controlling so much, sending so many signals, spreading so much fear, spreading so much division, spreading so much hatred towards certain groups, and they do it. Yes, DuckDuckGo is what I use as well. Iron Duke. I think DuckDuckGo is pretty sound, as much as anything can be these days, I suppose, So I think it's good to stay off big media in general. Stay off BBC, stay off Sky, Channel 4, stay off all these partisan propagandist outlets if you can. Stay off, I would suggest you stay off the Twitters, the Facebooks, and even the YouTubes. And try if you that's if you're interested in finding things that counter the narrative. If you totally buy into whatever the given narrative is and you want to have it reinforced, if you go to the mainstream media, you will get that. Um, Richie says Douglas Murray was talking about it. Hi, Jed. By the way, good to see you. Uh, No, I'm trying to read some other comments here, folks. It's hard because the sun's blinding me at the moment, as you may discern. Even though I got my raincoat on, it's very, very suddenly the sun has come out. Look, I don't think any of these browsers are perfect. I don't think any platform's perfect. In fact, some of the platforms I've talked about, like Rumble and like BitChute, they're not perfect. They are not perfect. But you know something? If you go back in time 10, 15 years, Facebook wasn't perfect. Twitter wasn't perfect. YouTube wasn't perfect, although it was a lot better then than it is now. So you've got to give new tech platforms a bit of a break, Otherwise, you become a slave to the likes of this platform. And being a slave to the likes of this platform, it's just not healthy, I don't think. Even though, as I repeatedly say, YouTube is the home of free speech and diverse opinions, as long as they're all the same. Right? You got that? That's what YouTube's all about. That's why I love it. That's why I come to praise it. It's fantastic. It's just, I want to do all my stuff off YouTube. I don't know why that could be. I've got a weird feeling it might be to do with censorship. But anyway, there we have it, folks. We have the strange world of big tech, big media, essentially all the same, all propagandist, little value to it. You're better trying to go elsewhere and do the thing that they hate you doing. The thing that they hate you doing is the thing that I know all you do, and that is think for yourself. Don't take my word for anything. Check things out for yourself. Critical thinking, critical reasoning. That's what you need to do. And if I can encourage that, then I think I've probably done my job for what it's worth. I mean, as I said to you, I'm forthright in what I say. I could be right, I could be wrong. I think I am right, by the way, just for want of clarity. I think I'm right, but I know I get things wrong. I've always said that. I try to be kind of balanced in my opinion, in my opinion of myself. So sometimes you get an issue, and then again, of course. Oh, thanks, Jed. Jed says follow me on Podbean for all the daily podcasts, all the stuff, all the good stuff, all the stuff that talks about the things that we must never ever mention on this platform. We mustn't mention them because it's misinformation, and YouTube's committed to not allowing misinformation to be spread. Uh, David, do you think people seeing you talking in your car think that you're mad? Undoubtedly, they do think I am mad, Miss L. They see me talking to myself in the car, and but then I don't care. I don't care. Richie says, "Where do you do your live shows now? You Rumble." Well, you see, the live shows essentially, I on if you follow my podcast, there's recorded podcasts, and like for example, last night there is live podcasts. So I can do live shows from my podcast studio, which is the same as this stuff actually. The difference is you don't get to see me. Trust me, that's going to be a benefit to you. So I can do live stuff. I actually do. I can, if I want, live stream to Rumble. I can live stream. Jed will correct me to excuse me, Odyssey. I can live stream to all these different other platforms. So, to be honest, I don't need YouTube. The only thing I need is you. I need you to, if you're interested in me, that is, to make the jump and to subscribe to the podcast channel, and that way, you'll get all the stuff that comes out, all the unspeakable stuff that comes out. Richie, if you go into on the Podbean channel and the chat box, you can talk. In fact, actually, you can do something better on my podcast channel than you can do here. Oh, sorry, Jed's just qualified. We live stream to brand YouTube, Odyssey, and Rumble. So we do that. But back to what I was saying. Um, if you join the podcast, especially in the live podcast, you can actually phone in. You can speak to me live. You can have your say if you want. If you want to, you don't have to, but you can do. So it's like a radio station thing where you can phone in and I can bring you in. And we've had people do this, by the way. They've come in and they've said hi, and you can be part of the show. So those guys, and I see you guys, you come up with brilliant comments. You always have done. That's the one thing about YouTube that I liked was your comments. But if you come onto the live podcast show that I try to do once every week, a live show, you can come in and you can chat about to me directly, and everyone will hear you. And you won't be censored, and you won't be shut down. Well, you will be shut down if you say anything I don't like, because I follow YouTube's. No, I don't. You can you can say what you want, and so that's why I'm trying to encourage you to make the look. We live in a world where everyone's transitioning, everyone's fluid. Well, you can be media fluid, and you can move from YouTube onto my podcast, or both. You don't have one, doesn't exclude the other, but you can jump over there and click and just subscribe, and that way we send you out the daily. You get all the daily podcasts coming out, and then you can also come on the live stream. And what we can do is we can build the community that we have built up on YouTube here. We can take that community, port it across into podcast, onto Podbean, and we can all keep talking to each other. So I hope that sounds attractive to you. I know that some of you have made the transition and you do so. Miss L, for example, was saying, and others I see have said that they listen to the daily podcasts. Um, but as I say, if you wonder why I'm so keen on it, I want to keep the dialogue that we've got with each other going. And it's pretty much impossible here anymore. It is in fact completely impossible because I can't talk about anything. Can't talk about anything on this channel because I'll be given a strike. Uh, so that's the level of deep tech censorship that we live in 2021. So we need to unhook ourselves, folks. And what all you need to do is hit the click, and you'll be very welcome on my live streams on the podcast channel, on the live streams when I do them on the other brand YouTube, for example. You can, and as I say, you've just got to accept the fact that these new tech platforms, they're not as swish as YouTube. I wish that they were, but they're not. But I believe in them because they believe in free speech, and I believe in free speech. And I believe in your right to express an opinion to me, regardless of whether I agree with it or not. You should be allowed to do that. This platform I'm talking to you on doesn't do that. So yeah, so that's it. So just before I go, here's a couple of things. So if you have enjoyed this, hit the thumbs up, so that I know you've enjoyed it. And similarly, if you haven't signed up to the podcast channel, you got to promise me. Yes, you can message me on Telegram. Yes, absolutely, Miss L. I forget. I'm very bad about my Telegram. You can get me in Telegram, message me stuff there. I'll respond to you as well. I mean, all these things. Here's the good news. We're not going to be shut up. We're not going to comply. We will not play their game. We will not slink off into the dark silently muttering. We won't. We will continue to put up the fight. We will say what we believe. I believe we have right on our side, even if we don't have Silicon Valley on our side. Doesn't matter. In fact, maybe that's the reason we don't have Silicon Valley on our side. And there's things I could say about Silicon Valley, which I don't say because the YouTube. Someone says Telegram. What about Pigeon Mail? Says Richie. Well, I think I'll try Telegram first, but do look up David Vance on Telegram. Join that particular platform I'm on as well because it's pretty good platform. More to the point, you can pretty much say within reason what you want on Telegram. Yeah, David Cameron says smoke signals. Now, I haven't reverted to smoke signals yet, but maybe the day will come when they grab full control of the internet and we might have to do other things. But in the meantime, folks, here we go. It's just coming up to 5 p.m. UK time. I need to go and do other things, but I wanted to just take this little sort of little period of time and have a chat with you just to remind you, in case you were in any doubt, I'm still alive and kicking. And I just wanted to come on here onto the YouTubes to tell you how much I love it and how much I love their algorithms, how much I love their censorship, how much I love the fact that draconianism begins at Silicon Valley and pretty much stays there. So look, thanks. Have you got petrol, David? Yes, I have got petrol, and in fact, actually, there's no way, there's no. I mean, oh, we could do a whole thing in that. We could do a whole thing on. I believe that the entire petrol narrative has been media manufactured. Oh, is that a conspiracy theory? I'm not sure, but I think that the media have been in yeah, I'm in the pet. I'm in. Richie says I'm in the queue. I'm not in the queue. I haven't got a full tank of petrol. I've got one of these cars, which is a hybrid car. So I've got electric on one side, I've got petrol on the other side, and that serves me properly. I've got a diverse car. What can I say? I haven't moved for 20 minutes yet. No, I haven't moved in 20 minutes. Absolutely right. But I'm going to move now. So look, thanks everybody for being part of this over the last 25 minutes or so I've been on this stream. Thank you very much for your support. Please make sure that you do make the move. I want you all to become digital fluid, and make sure you hit that subscribe link. It's down below. Follow me on the other platforms if you want to get the good content. If you want to hear David Vance's makeover tips, then this is absolutely the platform to stay on. I think I'll do that, or maybe, I don't know, I'll maybe do some instructional TikTok dancing routines, for our under stress national health staff. I mean, there's so much stuff I can do. And as I say, YouTube wants to keep us safe, and I want to keep you safe. And therefore, I do seriously advise you to make the transit while you still can, whilst I'm still here and able to tell you to make the transit. So hey, listen, I know a lot of people watch this on replay and stuff. So hope you enjoy this the last 20 minutes. As I say, I do like the intimacy of this, to be honest. But we can do exactly the same on the live podcast channel, and even better, you can actually kind of phone in to the studio and talk directly with me. I'm interested in your views as much as my own views. Makes it interesting. So I hope you'll look out for that. There will be weekly live podcasts coming out, and you can be part of that, just like you've been part of, I guess, my YouTube experience over the last, whatever it is, 12 years or whatever it is. Um, but now YouTube's moving itself into a place that I'm not too happy about. And therefore, with all due respect to our good friends at Google, I will have made other arrangements. I hope you'll invest in me, make the transit, and catch up with you folks real soon. That's it from me for now. Thank you very much. And I'll speak with you, as they say, on the